pie!
Yay! And to celebrate, we are reading a fanfic that I have listened to another person's reading of 1,000 times, which is something I normally don't do, but seeing how this is the fanfic that got me into bad fanfics in the first place, I figured I'd make an exception.
So, is this the usual of me voicing the girl and also possibly... Can I do Gandalf's voice?
Yes, I suppose.
Alright. I mean, I suppose I got this old man voice modulator for a reason.
And seeing how Torgo usually seems to be the villain in our readings, he should probably be the Dark Lord and...
The orcs.
Yeah, the orcs. Okay then, so we are reading Legolas by Laura.
Da 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 da.
Well, that doesn't really make sense since that's Rohan's theme, but anyway, let us just get started then.
Hold on, I have to play Laura's theme on my ocarina. There we go. That was far more epic.
Best composition ever.
Shall we get started?
Yes. So, Legolas was riding along the woods, and one day he found a baby waped in colts, so he got off his horse and went to the baby, and then Legolas said, "Who left you here, little one?" And then the baby just cried, and then Legolas picked her up. And then the baby just cried, and then Legolas picked her up and hold her, and then the baby stopped crying. Then Legolas said, "Your name is going to be Laura." And then Legolas and the baby went onto the horse and went back to the castle where he lived. Legolas said, "Father, Mother, I found this little baby in the woods." And then Legolas' mother got up and walked down and said,
"How can people put baby in the woods and to die?"
Then Legolas' father said, "We are going to keep her." And then Legolas was happy for some rising. 10 years later, Legolas got up and went into Laura's room and said, "Good morning." And then Laura said,
Good morning. Good morning.
Legolas got up and went into Laura's room and said, "Good morning." And then Laura said,
Good morning too.
Then Legolas said, "What's a matter?" And then Laura said,
Legolas, I want to know how to ride a horse.
Then Legolas said, "Hawk." And then Legolas said, "First you get dresses and have something to eat, and then we will go for a horse ride lesson." Meanwhile, Strider and Gandalf was riding towards where Legolas lived, and then Strider said, "Gandalf, I did not know Legolas had a sister." And then Gandalf said,
"I did not know as well."
Meanwhile, at Mondor, the Dark Lord was planning to kidnap the princess, but not Legolas. Then the boss of the orcs came and said, "Torgo, you are the orcs."
Orcs? Alright. Where are the orcs again?
Well, the line is, "I'll get her for you, sir." It's at the end of the third paragraph.
I'll get her for you, sir.
And then the Dark Lord said, "And you are also the Dark Lord, so..."
Yes, you can.
Wait, the orcs and the Dark Lord have the same voice?
Well, didn't you just suggest that? I mean, I said that he had to be the Dark Lord, and you said he could be the orcs.
Well, yes, but he shouldn't you differentiate voices?
They are all orcs. They talk in the dark orc voice.
No, the Dark Lord's not an orc.
Oh.
Make his voice more hissy.
Okay. Yes, you can.
Meanwhile, Legolas and Laura was horse riding, and then Laura said,
Legolas, who's that?
and then Legolas looked, and it was Gandalf and Strider. And then Legolas looked, and it was Gandalf and Strider. Legolas said, "That is Gandalf and Strider." And then Strider said, "Legolas." And then Legolas said, "Strider, long time seen." And then Strider said, "How's you?" And then Legolas said, "I am fine." And then Gandalf said,
"Who is this then?"
And then Legolas said, "Meet Laura, I found her in the woods when she was just a baby." Laura was shy at first, but then Legolas said, "Laura, come and meet Strider and Gandalf." And then Laura said,
Hello, I am Laura.
Legolas said, "She is the princess." And then Strider said, "She is so cute." And then Legolas said, "That will be my falute." And then Gandalf said,
"Why?"
and then Laura said,
He protects me, that's why.
And then Legolas looked up and then Legolas looked up and said, "I think we should go back to the castle." And then Laura said,
I can feel it too.
"Feel what exactly?"
I know.
I mean, this entire story is like, yeah, the writer seems to be trying at times to make stuff sound epic and foreboding, but yeah, the writing quality really betrays this story. And then this happened, and then that happened, and then they said, and then they said, and then... Legolas said, "Do you want to stay for a night?" And then Gandalf and Strider said,
Yes, please.
"Yes, please." And then they had tea and went to bed. During the night, Legolas asked the guards to keep an eye on Laura's room. Meanwhile, the orcs climbed up the window and grabbed Laura, and then Laura woke up and screamed, and then the guard went into her room and saw lots of orcs, and then Legolas ran down the hall. Then Legolas said, "Where is Laura?" And then the guards said, "Should someone else be the guards?"
The orcs took her.
Meanwhile, the orcs was back at Mondor, and then Laura said,
Put me down.
and then the orcs did, and then the Dark Lord came out of the fire and said,
Welcome, Laura.
and then Laura looked at him and said,
No, it can't be.
and then she tried to run away, but the orcs got her. Then the Dark Lord said,
Put her into the cell and bet her. And also do whatever you want with her. But do not kill her.
Then the orcs took her to the cell and threw her into the cell, and then they shut the door. Laura go up and went to the window, and she looked out, and she was wishing that Legolas or someone will save her. Meanwhile, back at the castle of Milkwood, Legolas was getting the army ready to go and save Laura. Meanwhile, Laura was sitting on the floor, and then the door opened, and it was some orcs, and the orcs tied Laura with some chains, and then one of the orcs striped her, and then he raped her, and then Laura said,
Go away, you bastard.
Then another orc came with a whip and wiped her hard, and then the orcs all together bet her almost to death, and then the Dark Lord came in with a tube of potion, and then he injected it into Laura.
I love how Posion is capitalized as if it's a brand name. Also, that's just wrong.
Name brand Potion or something like that.
You know, if this scene wasn't so terribly written, it would probably be very horrifying. Few hours later.
Also Milkwood.
Milkwood, indeed. Legolas and the others was on the way to Mondor to save Princess Laura. Meanwhile, in the cell where Laura was being kept, Laura woke up and she looked on her body. There was blood and scars. She could only move her right arm and not her left. She could only move her right arm, but not her left. Then Laura said,
I feel so cold.
and then she can't see very well. At the frowned gates of Mondor was Legolas and the others, and then they said, "Let Laura go!
Let Laura go.
Let Laura go!" And then the Dark Lord said,
No.
and then Legolas said, "Right, listen, I will climb up. Right, listen, I will climb up the cell and get Laura, and you and the others will find another way in." Then Strider said, "All right." And then Legolas started to climb up. Meanwhile, Strider and the others ran into Mondor and went into the castle. One does not simply run into Mondor.
One does not simply climb into Mondor.
Gandalf said,
I will go and kill the Dark Lord, and you and the others go and help Legolas.
Strider said, "Be careful." No, wait. Be careful. And then Gandalf said,
I will, don't you worry about me.
Meanwhile, Legolas got to the cell where Laura is. Legolas said, "Laura, are you in there?" And then Laura said,
Oh, Legolas, you finally came.
and then Legolas said, "Are you alright?" And then Laura said,
No, I am not alright.
and then Legolas said, "They bet you up and raped you, and also the Dark Lord gave you the potion." And then Laura said,
How did you know that?
then Legolas said, "When I was your age, they did the same thing to me."
What?
Indeed. So, when Legolas was the same age, the orcs kidnapped him and took him to Mondor, where the Dark Lord gave him the potion after the orcs had bet him up and raped him.
This is not
Why?
okay. This is not okay. Also, yeah, there's no reason given for this. No reason whatsoever.
Then Laura said,
Can you get me out of here?
and then Legolas said, Ox, stand back. And then he ran back and ran towards the door and knocked it down. Laura said,
Wow.
and then Legolas looked and saw she was covered in blood and scars, also she was naked. And then Legolas said, why they did it to you, not me. And then the orcs came and said,
Because she got a power and she can destroy us all the bad guys.
then the fright began.
It's already quite frightening.
Legolas got out his bow and arrows and started firing at them. Then Legolas saw some swords and said, Strider, is that you? And then Strider said, yes it is. And then Legolas and the others started to kill the orcs. Meanwhile, Gandalf is having a fun time trying to destroy the Dark Lord. Gandalf said,
I wish Frodo and Merry and Pippin and Sam was here.
and then a sword came out of nowhere and said, sword said it.
Okay,
So who is Frodo?
I'll be Frodo.
Some wished us here.
And then Gandalf turned and said,
Frodo Baggins, what are you doing here?
then Frodo said,
We came to help you, and also we got rid of the ring.
and then the Dark Lord said,
Oh no!
and then the magical powers from Gandalf destroyed the Dark Lord. I had to make that line extra epic because, you know, they defeated the bad guy!
Yes!
Meanwhile, Legolas and Strider and the others was helping Laura down, and Strider took off his cape and put it around Laura. Few hours later, Legolas and the others are on the way back to the castle. Legolas said, we must go to Rivendell to get Laura better. Then Gandalf said,
I think you are right.
and then they turned round and went to Rivendell. Legolas looked down on Laura and put his hand on Laura's head, and she was bruising up. Strider went aside of Legolas and looked at it. Strider went aside of Legolas' horse and looked and said, she is getting worse. And then Legolas said, I know. Few hours later, they were at Rivendell and Legolas stayed by Laura They were at Rivendell and Legolas stayed by Laura.
Regulus from Milkwood? Getting kind of English there, aren't you?
Well, it's this fanfic. Can you blame me?
Not at all.
They were at Rivendell, and Legolas stayed at Laura's side every day until she wakes up, and then Legolas kissed Laura on her lips, and then she moved her arms around Legolas, and then Legolas said, all you all right? And then Laura said,
Yes, I am.
Legolas said, I am so happy. And then Laura said,
Do you want to be my boyfriend?
and then Legolas said, yes, I will be your boyfriend. And of course we must point out the fact that Laura is 10 years old, and was raised as Legolas' sister.
Yes.
Creepy as F.
Yes.
And then Laura and Legolas kissed again. Laura said,
Legolas, what happened? Sorry, what happened to me, Legolas?
and then Legolas said, you got kidnapped by the orcs and you got kidnapped by the orcs and they raped you and also bet you almost to death, and then the Dark Lord gave you some potion.
Oh, the off-brand Poseon. It's just some Poseon, not the Poseon. It's not capitalized.
And then Laura said,
Why I can only move on arm?
and then Legolas said, your left arm is broken. Then the door opened and it was Strider, and then Laura said,
Hello, Strider.
and then Strider said, I see you are awake. And then Laura, the end.
The end.
Da 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 da.
Da 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 da. You know, Senpai, I have to say, life hasn't been the same without doing these recordings.
It's been
Yeah, I
kind
know,
of
right?
empty without a lot of that.
Yeah, to be
Yes.
honest, there's a weird feeling of emptiness I can't shake. It's almost like something very important just doesn't and has never existed. and never will. But that's probably just my brain being non-existent, because I'm not a killer robot or anything. Bye.